Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. The Panthers are in the playoffs. Wild card weekend. They take on the LA Rams. It could be a game. It could be redemption for the Rams, or it could be a big upset for the Panthers. Again, just like in Week 13. But who knows? The game still has to be played. But one thing I do know, Myles Harris here in studio with me. Thank you for stopping by the studio, Myles.
You got me hyped, man. I'm ready to go in, Coach. Come on
man,
now. It's your team, isn't it?
Myles heard Eugene and I earlier as we were
Every time. I'm like, my desk isn't that far away from you guys, so I hear it, and I'm like, Eugene's back there. I know. I know.
Yeah. You probably heard me today. I was probably the loud one today.
You were loud.
Yeah, I was screaming.
Rightfully
yelling.
so, though.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
You were dirty bird.
I did the dirty bird. I was doing a lot. All right. Let's get to it. Panthers in the playoffs. You got a chance to speak with a former Panthers player because you asked me. You asked me. I'm not gonna say his name. I'll let you say it. What do you know about this guy? I said, I know everything about this guy. He made some big catches.
Yeah.
He was a fan favorite at the time and happened to be on that last playoff team for the Panthers.
Charlotte guy. We're talking about Britton Burson,
Yeah.
really, really big. Charlotte guy, Panthers, been on the team, had an interesting story, obviously. Woodford legend, I guess we can say, right?
Yeah.
But really interesting. And you mentioned that. He was on that last playoff run back in 2017 where they lost to the Saints. I had a chance to talk to him. He said that was his last NFL game.
What?
So,
wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy to kind of look at that and go down that memory lane with that. But, getting a chance to talk to him, asked him, hey, what are some of the similarities that you saw from that team that you're seeing with this team?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing he mentioned was the run game. Mentioning back to his time with Jonathan Stewart, one of the best running backs, probably the best running back that's ever put on a Panthers jersey, and seeing the success that Rico Dowdle has had at certain points of the season, also seeing the success that Chuba Hubbard has had at certain points of the season, even beyond this season. Those are the big similarities that he saw as far as this team. And so it was just a really good time to kind of get that chance to kind of talk to a former player that's lived and been in the city when it came to that playoff experience. And one thing that he also said that was interesting, though, too, is that he mentioned, the fan, hand when it comes to the success and when it comes to playing in the field. And he was like, they have a lot more to do with this when it comes to the team that's doing well, right? Especially when they're playing in Bank of America Stadium. And so he's like, this is a calling that we need to see those fans back in the stands when it comes to Saturday as well.
I was telling Myles, I was telling Carolina, back in those Cam Newton days. So you got to think from 2011 to about 2017, 2018, you were shoulder to shoulder in the stadium, standing room only. Nobody was seated. It was a madhouse, and the place would absolutely erupt. And there are a lot of people that here, because of just people move on. It's been so long that don't remember that or have not experienced that.
Right.
And I'm so excited about Saturday. Did Britton talk about that game? Because I think that playoff game was against the Saints,
Right.
in New Orleans. Did he talk about sort of what he was feeling, what was going through his head? Because he played.
He played, and we focus more on just the fact that it's been 10 years since Carolina has hosted a playoff game. So I know 2017 was the last time they were in a playoff game.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years since they've had it here in the bank. And so we talked more so about that and just really, when the Panthers are doing well, the city's doing well, right? And so that seems like such a cliche thing, but he's like, you see it, you feel it. We see it every time, whether you're in Uptown, whether you're in South End, there's just a little bit more conversation. Heck, I've been in the city for almost 3 years, and I just finally bought some Panthers. Finally bought some Panthers
You were bad luck.
gear.
No, I'm joking.
No. Hold on. Maybe I'll leave it in the closet. No, I'm kidding. But it's kind of crazy, and he's like, I get it. Even when the team's not doing well, it's easy to kind of turn it off or look at something else. But when they're doing well, this is when people kind of come together.
Yeah.
And he said it's awesome to see that because it gives him that flashback of when he was here back in 2016. And so, again, it's awesome to see a guy that's been from Charlotte, that's from Charlotte, that still lives in Charlotte, but is now seeing it kind of, I don't want to say full circle, but just seeing them relevant again. And so and we even talked a little bit about what's been successful for the team this year as well. And one of your guys he mentioned was Derek Brown. And so
I love DB.
Yeah, and so he talked about that and mentioned how him being able to control the defensive line and even having that success was a big win for them when they were playing the Rams the first go round. And he said, I need to see that again come this Sunday or Saturday when they go up against the Rams again. So that success with that, and obviously seeing that they've been able to try to do at least with the offensive line. And he said that's where it starts. He's like, even as a wide receiver, I know that's where it starts at the line. And so that's what's been working as well for the Panthers when they win those games, but they'll need it again, obviously, against the Rams.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Did he acknowledge how much of a fan favorite he was? Did he recognize how much of a fan favorite?
Humbly, he didn't want to go too humbly.
He was a fan favorite.
And that's the thing. Like I talked to Carboni about it though too, right? And so he mentioned he's like these guys. I mean, they were like seeming like guys were like practice squad guys, but no, these guys were fan favorites, right? And so, and especially when the receiving core was a little bit more depleted, I'll tell you what, he gave a lot of praise. Speaking of receivers, Tet McMillan. Said, seeing him clips that 1,000 yards is very similar to what he saw, at least in that first year with Kelvin Benjamin. Obviously, that kind of derailed a little bit with injuries, but just talked about a lot of the potential regardless of the result of how this game goes. Obviously, we want to push for a win, but he says when you have a team that's this young and that they do have a little bit more of veteran leadership to a degree, like a guy like DB, right? It helps and it matters. And so regardless of whether it's a win or a loss, you take this experience and you try to build on it from there. And so that's the thing that he's mostly looking forward to and seeing it being done. He mentioned that it's a little bit different because, he mentioned guys like Shula and McDermott, guys that are head coaches or
they were coordinators at the time.
And they were coordinators at the time. So it's a little different when it comes to a vibe with that, but he's like, I like what I'm seeing from Canales. And so hopefully they're able to build on it. This is such a young team, man. This is such a young team. And he even talked a little bit about Cam Newton and being a leader. And so that's one that obviously we talked about a little offline too. There's a lot of anticipation with that return as well.
That 2011 to 2017 season Panthers, they raised a generation of fans, not only here in Charlotte, but across the country. When the commercials to the number one jersey, to the dab, to the everything. I mean, that whole time period really sort of you talk to somebody who maybe is in their mid to late 20s, they're like, Cam Newton was my favorite player.
And we see that in the NFL now. Remember the Drake May tribute?
Drake May
too. And it still happens. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan, but even when last time the Eagles came here to play, or one of the most recent times, Jalen Hurts was doing the same thing, the Superman. It's still lives,
Jalen Hurts would have been of that time where he was a kid.
Exactly.
These guys are young.
It's like, hey, don't ask us our age.
Don't ask. Say, Miles and I are about the same age. These guys are young.
Easily can say that. But again, it's cool to hear former players and the guys that used to wear the black and blue, right? Look and still see the relevancy and see those similarities and familiarities with that. And so we're looking forward to seeing what it looks like on Saturday too. So.
I will say, once a Panther, always a Panther. I look at guys like Sam Mills, rest in peace, Eugene, who played for 1 year, but people think of him, people know of him as a Panther. Britton Burson, Panther for life.
Right.
Once you're a Panther.
Thomas Davis. I mean,
Thomas Davis. And Thomas Davis played for another team after the Panthers. Jonathan Stewart played for the Giants. So once a Panther, always a Panther. You're always loved. There's always family. When can folks check out that story this evening?
4:30, man.
4:30. I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
All right, Ticketmaster. What do you think is the lowest price ticket right now on Ticketmaster for Saturday's game?
You go first.
We're talking now. That's the lowest price. So you're talking nosebleed. You're talking high up, 500.
Okay, so it's an NFL playoff game.
And those are actually really good seats.
Yeah, it's not a bad seat.
It's not really.
Can I say I want to reach a little bit? I'm going to say 250. It's probably the lowest.
250.
Yeah. Oddly enough.
Okay. No.
Okay.
Ooh. I didn't guess yet.
Oh, okay.
350.
350.
No.
Okay.
For a single ticket. You're looking at 170.
Okay. That's not bad.
That's not that bad. Yeah. I was surprised as well when I looked it up because I was like, I'm thinking around y'all. I was thinking at least $200 now.
Yeah. Right.
At least $200 now.
Oh, best believe if the seeding works out and say, I guess it wouldn't be a divisional game, but it would be. I know this is looking ahead, but bear with me. It would be maybe an NFC Championship game if the seeding worked out. Those ticket prices are going to climb.
They skyrocket, right?
Yeah.
You could sit in the 300s About almost 3,000 for 2 tickets.
See, but here's the thing though. But here's the thing. You bring up a really good point, Carlene, because one of the stories that we were talking about. Remember last year on how cheap the tickets were because they weren't doing well.
Yeah.
Talk about the progress from there. They were literally selling tickets for a quarter.
Right.
Right.
I just love the vibe because a few years ago, when I was living in Raleigh, longer than a few years ago, I was living in Raleigh, and it was tough to watch. I came for a 49ers game, and CMC was still here with the Panthers. It was his last season with the Panthers. I think he still had a few weeks left before he got traded. Mm-hmm. It was a game before Matt Rule got fired. Baker Mayfield was the quarterback, and the vibes were just so low.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So low. And it's just like, oh, man, this is terrible.
Yeah.
This is not what I remembered. But it's great to see the city back. And look, the Panthers have gone through ups and downs this season, but I think the morale is high. I think people are optimistic, and that's what you truly want from a franchise.
I'll just say this way. I look at the forecast. They should be optimistic. I'll just put it that way. I know that it doesn't seem like that means a lot, but for a team that they're going against that does really well by throwing out of the air.
Yeah, they should be optimistic.
They should be. Yeah. I'll just put it that way.
Myles Harris, man. Always enjoy it when you come through the studio.
Appreciate you, my man.
Man.
Appreciate you.